Hello and welcome to our third Pensions and Protection podcast in association with Royal London. I'm Kimberley Dondo, Digital Content Manager at Money Marketing, and in this episode, we'll explore challenges advisors are currently facing when discussing business protection with clients and the solutions available to help you grow your business and deliver value for your clients in difficult market conditions. Today, I'm joined by Yusuf Ali, Wellbeing, Health and Protection Specialist from Partners and from Royal London, Karen Leys, Corporate and Estate Planning Protection Specialist, and Gregor Sked, Senior Intermediary Development and Technical Manager. So thank you all for joining me today.
Thanks, Kimberley.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So just as a little intro, I'm sure people are aware of who you guys are, but could you give us a bit of an introduction into yourself, starting with you, Yusuf?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. So I'm Yusuf Ali. I'm a Wellbeing, Health and Protection Advisor here at Partners and. I look after and head up our advice philosophy for our clients, our propositions, and also look after our national science and tech practice across Partners and delivering business protection advice.
Okay, great. And Karen?
Hello, I'm Karen Leys. I am part of a new team that has been set up by Royal London to help advisors in the business protection market and the inheritance tax estate planning side. So I'm very new to Royal London, but I have 36 years in industry experience.
And Gregor?
Hi, everyone. So, I'm Gregor. I'm in Royal London's Protection, Development and Technical team. And what my role really consists of is trying to get the message of protection, be that personal, be that business, out into the advisor world and really bring to life the important role that protection advice plays. And we do that through all manner of different methods in various different articles or out doing face-to-face or online presentations and everything in between. So it's a very varied role, but really trying to help advisors discuss protection with clients.
Okay, fab. I'm glad to have you all here. So my first question is, what are some of the common challenges facing advisors when talking business protection with clients, and what can providers do to support them? Do you want to start us off, Yusuf?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the challenges at the moment or today really are twofold. We're living through a cost of living crisis, and I think it's I don't think it's fair to say that it's just experienced by individuals. Businesses are also having to look at their budgets and to make cuts and savings where they need to. And I think the second thing as well, or the biggest challenge when it comes to business protection in the market, is the lack of available advice.
Yeah.
So business protection is still an area that is fairly untapped, and putting it into plain and simple and easy English to be able to understand what you're protecting, how you're protecting it, still remains a massive challenge. So what we of course do here at Partners and is we try to make things as simple as possible, get our clients talking throughout their whole relationship with us, their journey with us, and really get under the skin of what their biggest challenges are.
And from your perspective, Karen, what would those challenges be?
I think we're in a very different market now, post-COVID. So we saw a lot of businesses that struggled during the pandemic and changed their business models. So they might have had a shop front or a face-to-face proposition, and now obviously they've moved to online and digital, and that brings with it a whole varied amount of changes. They might have invested heavily in that digitalized route. So they've got loans outstanding. They might have been one of the 1.6 million COVID loans that were taken out, in that period.
Yeah.
And so I think, that they're struggling maybe with loan repayments and changes to their model and proposition. There's also recruitment issues. gaining staff and keeping staff. It's a very competitive market out there.
Yeah.
And I suppose, those are some of the challenges facing the businesses that, Yusuf's talking to. And we've obviously got some of the solutions that can help them with that.
What are providers doing to support those?
So, some of the things we've got are sort of lots of tools that can help you. We've got things like Helping Hand, where they provide legal services, recruitment opportunities and discussion. So if you're a very small business, you don't have access to legal teams and marketing teams, and you want your employees, if they are off sick, to come back to work as quickly as possible because you're reliant on them. And that's some of the services that we have at Royal London that we can provide via our products called Helping Hand. Mm-hmm. And that very much, is supporting those businesses and their business owners where they don't have access to those facilities or at a cost they can't necessarily always afford. Royal London's very much there helping them and behind the scenes helping clients.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I've been seeing over the last couple of months from discussions around business protection with advisor firms, and I think it's something that we're seeing the industry really become a bit more of an active player in helping advisors with, is finding the opportunity. And that's certainly a concern I've heard from a lot of advisors over the last couple of months, which is they know the role it plays and the importance of having protection conversations, but it's trying to get that conversation going. It's trying to understand what does an opportunity, how does an opportunity flourish, how does it start. So as I said, one of the things I'm seeing the industry definitely getting better at is providing that sort of more help, sort of handhold and support to get that initial conversation really going and flowing. So we've got a range of different support methods as well, just to help advisors identify potential clients within their in their existing bank that actually might warrant a business protection conversation. It can be really simple things like just looking at a business owner's job title, looking at whether they've maybe arranged a mortgage, they're using dividend payments to make that, or what little clues in the client bank are there that tells an advisor that actually that individual could be quite a key person within the business. Let's have that business protection conversation. So I think it's the helping advisors see the opportunity and just know how to start that conversation, which is I think a big area for the industry at the moment.
Yeah. And how can providers support advisors to overcome challenges that clients may have when it comes to business protection, such as complexity or perceived lack of need?
We've got lots of training that we can help advisors with, looking at the different products and solutions that are available, tools that can help them present it to their customers and it is an easy to demonstrate way. I mean, often business owners think of it as being very complex, but actually when you unravel it and you then show it in its separate formats and build that solution for that client individually, and that's some of the things that we can help. Some of the tools on our website will help with that as well. But ultimately, it's making sure advisors feel confident to have those conversations with those advisors, confident in their knowledge and that they understand the different types of solutions that are available.
Yeah,
definitely. I think, Kim, it boils down to a couple of things. Firstly, knowledge is power. So one of the things that Royal London offer is their CPD hub. That has been absolutely important, or the bedrock of our ongoing training needs for our advisors and some of the talent that's coming through within Partners and who want to take the next step. That's really important. Karen mentioned the tools. One of the tools that I tend to use is the relevant life calculator. So when I'm sat there with a client and they're going, well, I'll explain the features, benefits, I'll get to know the client. But when they ask, well, how does this work in reality? The relevant life calculator can be really useful in trying to show a way in which the product is designed to achieve a certain outcome. And I think the last thing as well that's really in Royal London's favour is the customer self-apply option.
Okay.
So we, or in particular, our clients are very time poor. And when we want to book an application with them, it will tend to be a half an hour meeting that we need to have with them. Whereas if we can just send them a link and they can complete it in their own time, perhaps during the weekend or at a time that's convenient for them, we start to appeal to the needs and the working lifestyle of our clients.
Yeah. I think flexibility is definitely important as we become more and more, agile. But I don't know, Gregor, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
I completely agree with the being able to complete the application process in clients' own time, and I suppose from a risk perspective as well, that it can take a lot of the onus off the advisor if those details are actually being put over across the client to make sure that they're completing. And hopefully what that does is it lets them complete it in a way that they're feeling comfortable, they're not feeling like they need to hide anything, or maybe they're not as comfortable if they're wanting to be as open and honest about something that maybe happened a few years ago. So it's definitely really important from a flexibility perspective. I think the other thing, just picking up on something that both Karen and Yusuf have mentioned, I suppose, is around the risk and actually demonstrating the likelihood of unexpected events happening, the likelihood of bad things happening. Nobody wants to think about bad things happening from a personal perspective, but actually when we think about bad things happening from a business perspective, that can have even wider consequences. And the industry, not just Royal London, there are various providers that have some fantastic risk profiling tools that can show clients, be them individual, be them business owners, the likelihood of these unexpected life events happening. And when we put that into that business context, we're usually going to be dealing with 2, 3, 4 individuals rather than just one. So actually the probability is normally significantly higher. And again, it's just helping just put across the need for protection advice when we start to see the likelihood of risk events happening.
And could you tell us about Royal London's business protection proposition and how it helps advisors deliver value for money for clients? I know that you've touched on some of the tools and things that you have there, but could you expand on that?
Yeah, so I think the crux of our business protection offering really comes in with our business menu plan. So the Royal London business menu plan, and we've used the word flexible quite a lot today, really is a flexible way to help business owners meet some of the key reasons that they would be taking out business protection to begin with. I tend to look at it as 3 boxes. You have business protection advice for helping business owners keep control of the business, helping them repay serious debts if there's a death or a serious illness, and help maintain the business's profit if there's a death or a serious illness of a key individual within the business. Of course, we've got relevant life on top of that, so we've got a death and service aspect. And again, with the Royal London business menu approach, we've got solutions for each of those 4 areas. So be that key person cover, loan protection, partnership and shareholder protection, and there's relevant life cover as well. So it's a full package of business protection offerings. And of course, Karen mentioned a little bit earlier on around Helping Hand. So Helping Hand is a fantastic feature of the Royal London proposition, and it is often, I would say, quite an under-spoken about part of the proposition. For all of the fantastic features it has, we see about 16% of customers actually are aware that they have access to services like Helping Hand, so these ancillary benefits. From a business perspective, and Karen alluded to this a little bit earlier, customers have got access to independent legal advice, they've got access to recruitment support, and of course access to mental and well-being service as well. So it actually is a really broad service for business owners, because the one thing I often ask during our various different sessions is how many SME business owners have an in-house HR team? How many SMEs have an in-house legal team? Very few and far between, I would imagine. So the other thing is they will still be going through challenges over time where they will need legal advice, where they will need recruitment support. And at difficult times, these small businesses could very well find them quite costly exercises, quite difficult exercises to go through. So being able to give access to these services is hopefully a long way to make sure businesses can keep running when difficult things are happening.
Great. And I don't know if you had anything to add there, Karen. I know that Gregor touched on a lot of those services.
Yeah, I would just echo what Gregor said, and at Royal London, what we do have is a team of BDMs and support people that are there to help the advisor access all of these wonderful things that we've got, to make their advice process much easier and simpler.
Mm-hmm. And Yusuf, I know that you said that you utilize some of these things, and what effects does that have on like your day-to-day?
It's a good question. I think firstly, it makes the day-to-day role of being a business protection advisor a lot easier, because you're able to provide that additional context. You're able to demonstrate how these particular solutions work in their operation and in their entirety. And I also would say, with regards to Royal London and our clients, particularly in the science and tech space, are very niche clients. They're usually going through fundraising, and there's a requirement to have key person cover as a condition of their investment. Now, Royal London, when it comes to their financial underwriting and the medical underwriting, absolutely get our clients. They won't ever look at things in a box. They will always consider the reasons that company is raising funds. They'll look at things other than financials. They're always willing to listen and understand the challenges of our clients. And I think when you get to that point, you can also further demonstrate value.
Yeah.
And value is demonstrated by your worth and salt as a person, as an advisor. So, Jimmy Porter, my boss, always goes, when he speaks to a business owner, always says, "Tell me about your business." And that one question can open up a plethora of different avenues to go down to then have that business protection conversation. And then you can start to risk bucket it, as Gregor and Karen says, around the proposition. When you ask these questions, what's your biggest liability in the business? How are you, going to pay that back? Is bank lending really suitable? Who are key individuals in the business? Who is of viable concern is my favorite question to ask business owners. All these things, when you stitch them all together with a partner like Royal London, who get our clients, understand why we are making the recommendation we do, that is how you get a good client outcome in terms of business protection.
And how can Royal London help advisors stay up to date with the changing market conditions and regulatory requirements? I know that a lot of new things always get introduced. So, Karen, would you like to start with that one?
So I think, we've got, we do regular communications with advisors. The business development managers are regularly speaking to their advisors about any updates that come out. There's, if you just look at things like, we've got the Consumer Duty Hub, we've got the Cost of Living Hub. We produce lots of valuable information on LinkedIn for advisors to be able to easily access, because most of us are sitting on a train or, when we've got 5 minutes, we're going online. So lots of easily accessible information that you can get. I think ultimately, it's very difficult, isn't it, when you're dealing remotely, with so many people, is to try and get that message across. And I think we use lots of different avenues in order to be able to do that. So, face to face with people like me and Gregor, attending roadshows and workshops and things, the BDMs on the phones and Teams, the hub, the online stuff, podcasts. A wealth of ways of making it easily accessible for advisors.
Gregor, did you have anything to add?
Completely agree with Karen. I think we've got different formats for everybody's specific needs when it comes to how they digest this types of information. And as we said right at the beginning, one of the challenges, particularly with business protection, is that it can be perceived as quite a complex topic, and you want to be able to have access to resources that are easy to digest, and they're not going to bombard you with technical detail and information that is only going to scare you off ever looking at it as an opportunity. So a lot of the materials, the marketing support that we've got definitely is produced in hopefully a way that is easily digestible and accessible as well. And I think one of the key things just to really sort of emphasize is the dedicated support, whether that is likes of Karen's team or with our corporate protection specialists or dedicated BDMs. They are there to help advisors explore this topic. They are there to help with some of these technical areas. But most importantly, they're there as that source of information and guidance as a starting point for people that are maybe new to business protection. And they need that helping hand to explore the topic in a bit more detail.
Mm-hmm. And finally, I wondered if you could give any tips or explain some opportunities for advisors to grow their protection business and deliver better value for their clients.
I can take this one.
Yeah, take
here
it.
We are, straight out of the Ali rule book here. So I think you have to have a starting position. Mm-hmm. And the starting position, which we firmly believe in here at Partners And, is we question ourselves, do we know our clients? Because our clients are ever changing. They have a range of different challenges and needs, and that can vary from months to years. It can be a fast changing piece. So I think the first thing is to truly understand your clients. Mm-hmm. I think the second thing is, don't be afraid to ask the tough questions. Now, I know some of us feel very uncomfortable with asking our clients about medical disclosures and getting intimate detail from our clients, but actually I would say that writing protection probably enhances that relationship, because if you know your client intimately, mm-hmm. nothing is ever off record. You'll always have that strong relationship. So I'd say never be afraid of that. And the third thing is asking questions, being curious. So again, it comes back to, if you have a business, tell me about your business. Who in the business is a viable concern? If you've got a majority shareholder in the business, what happens with those shares upon death? Asking really good open questions will allow you to be able to identify the opportunities and then marry up a provider like Royal London to help you deliver their protection needs.
Mm-hmm. I think the same is true as well from our point of view to the advisor. We do a lot of training with BDMs, etc., about enabling them to ask the difficult questions to advisors to be able to support them, not just to roll out a generic training session that covers everybody and ticks a box, mm-hmm. but actually tailor making it to that advisor and that advisor firm so it fits in with what their plans and what their needs and requirements are. Mm-hmm. So I think we also empower, us to be able to ask those difficult questions to Yusuf about, Partners and what they need, and other advisors.
I really love those points, and I really love that thing about tell me your business. Asking those open questions. We've got a fantastic sales aid on our advisor site, which is simply called Questions to Ask, and it is just a list of really simple questions to help that initial conversation just start. And I suppose adding sort of my point into this, I'd say there's a huge opportunity to discuss business protection. There's about 5.58 million businesses in the UK, but 99.9% of them are SMEs, so fewer mm-hmm. than 250 employees. That is the target audience for business protection. It is a huge opportunity, and it's a fairly undersold solution. And actually, that's a huge risk for those businesses that aren't aware about some of these risk events that they face, but also that the businesses face. And I think things like the consumer duty certainly are helping really focus the attention on making sure that future aspirations are being achievable. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I often talk about is four questions to ask. So do you have clients that are maybe shareholders of SMEs? Do they expect to sell their shares in the business at some point in the future? Will those proceeds of that sale form some form of lifetime planning? And if that's the case, are those aspirations, are those lifetime plans being ensured? Very similar to Yusuf's question list there. And I think there's so many different avenues to explore with the opportunity space. And as I said, I'd really sort of hark back to Yusuf's point about tell me a business. And look at bringing along structure charts and talking about who's key within the business. What would happen if they weren't here? What's their role? Tell me about what do they do? And hopefully what that can do is just start to help paint that picture as to who is a key individual within the business and the impact of them not being there any longer. And we often use the phrase the subs bench at Royal London. Is there somebody on the subs bench? Is there someone that can do their job as well? Or would there be significant costs to replace them? Could there be significant implications to relationships with clients, with the banking and so forth, if something happened? And I think it's just these little areas, these little opportunities that I think can hopefully bring to life the opportunity itself to talk about business protection, and obviously don't forget to really use the industry to help with those conversations.
Yeah, I think those are very important tips for those advisors, because I think with most business owners, they're probably just thinking about their business. They're not thinking about the grander scheme of things. And, they're probably just thinking 5 years, this is what I plan to do, but they're not thinking about what might happen along that way. So having advisors and the providers there working together to help them and guide them, I think is very important.
Absolutely. Kim, just on that point, for those pension planners out there, they have clients who are in decumulation, and they know that the biggest risk is the journey. Actually, it's very similar when it comes to protection. The journey is the biggest risk, and understanding that journey, and then leading back to Gregor's point, having that natural curiosity to ask these questions will absolutely crank open the opportunities. You've got that famous saying, curiosity killed the cat. Well, in business protection, it's not the same. Curiosity can really open up a really good conversation around some really pressing issues with business owners.
I've always had a problem with that, because as a curious person, it hasn't done anything negative to me to be curious. So if anything, it's helped. But it was fantastic to speak to you all. And I'm so grateful for this conversation. And I hope that our listeners are able to take that on board and use some of those tips and tricks that you shared today. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kimberley.
Thank you for listening to this episode. We do hope that you enjoyed it. In the next episode, we'll discuss some of the current challenges with the pensions market and the ways in which providers and advisors can work together to balance the immediate financial needs of clients while appropriately planning for financial stability in later life. And if you'd like any further information or resources from Royal London, visit advisor.royallondon.com/peoplepowered. See you next time.